This is a dumb joke, by the way. Alright, everyone, are we ready? This is gonna be a hell of a time. We've been waiting all year for this. This is where boys become men, and men know what they're about. This is it. Alright, everyone together? Alright, let's go steal some Girl Scout cookies! Welcome, friends, LostScarf here, and it's time for the vlog, and this is the second take. Okay, so real quick, channel stuff. We have Professor Layton happening. It's gonna be FF8 after. I've said that before. When it comes to Jinx, she's still got finals for like 2 more weeks, so because of that, we're not gonna see podcasts just yet. And other things of the channel, a lot of random. There's Scarf Place. It's gonna be me doing hardcore Terraria for a little bit because I really like that. There's also Scarf Place of golfing over it, which is a golf version of getting over it. It's pretty fun. Now, here's the thing. We know the channel's not doing awesome, and we're working on making it better. And the thing I want to question today about the channel is the indies. Are they worth it or not? And I'm curious what the viewership thinks of this. Like, 9 out of 10 times the indies are terrible. Or 7 out of 10 they're terrible, 2 out of 10 they're okay, and then 1 out of 10 they're great, or they're good, and then 1 out of 20 they're great. This week, I've gone through a dozen games, and golfing over it was the best one. And it's goodish, but it's not like it's amazing. It's getting over it, but with golf, and that's it. Well, I did find these 2 okay-ish games that are going to be rapid fires. This is the reason why there's not as many rapid fires, because I'm not finding enough games that are okay-ish at least go over rapid fire on. And I'm not finding enough things worth one-shotting. It's really frustrating right now. There are literally 100 games coming out a day, and like one of them might be good. It's $100 a game when they get put on the store. I'm like, these are people just throwing money away. It's amazing. It's amazing how people are just throwing money away. There are games that are just, these are games you make to practice, not to sell. And yet they're being put up on the store. And they're not going to sell a single copy. Not a one. Steam's making money off this, but I wonder at the end of the day, is Steam going to be hurting themselves by having such a bloated library? There's so many good games that are getting buried under all this stuff. It's very unfortunate. It's very frustrating. I'm wondering if doing it is worth it, because I keep thinking we could be a resource of, like, here are games worth playing. That's what I keep hoping for us to be. But we don't get a lot of traction on that, unfortunately. And it's just too bad on that. The reason why we used to get popularity on the one-shots is because we were doing Smite at the same time. We had a flagship where people were interested in that, and then they look at the other things. And I wonder if that's the problem, is we need to do a flagship again. Like I've said this a few times before. Maybe we need a flagship, we get a lot of attention there, and then people will trickle down to everything else. Which, that's a sound strategy. At least it sounds like a sound strategy. And we don't have one since we left Smite. We tried to do it with Overwatch, it didn't work out. Very unfortunate. Overwatch was just too saturated. Smite was not saturated. It was the perfect storm when we did it. Fortnite could have been a thing. I should not focus on it too much, but it could have been a thing. Too late now. Monster Hunter World's already out on the consoles, but it's coming on PC. I want a flagship Monster Hunter because I know I love that game so much. I mean, I love that series so much, I know I'm going to love that game. Jinx, same thing. We have viewers who like Monster Hunter as well. So I know that's something we could have in the future, is we could potentially flagship that. Is there anything we can flagship right now? I don't know. We've been trying to make me the flagship, where we're doing the voice stuff and all that, building up our skills, hoping that my personality is enough. But it's not enough. It's proven that, I think. That or we're just not advertising well enough, which we've always sucked at. When it came to Smite, our advertising was okay. The reason why we did so well with Smite is because we were doing something no one else was doing, and we were doing something very well. And it was just a good storm. It was a very good storm that we were in, and it just worked out very well for that. And we're going to keep at it, so maybe we'll find another storm, but who knows? Another perfect storm, but who knows when that will be. Hopefully Monster Hunter is another flagship we can do. I don't know. But everything else suffers because of that. And I'm just wondering if I should... I don't know if I want to even stop doing the indies. The problem is it worth the effort or not? I don't know. Is anything we do worth the effort? Like, podcasts are semi-popular. We're not doing it right now because we don't want to put too much on Jinx. But podcasts are kind of popular. We're semi-popular, like around 20s, 30s, but I think those could grow with the guests. But It's so interesting talking to these interesting people. That's why I want to keep doing it, because I would never talk to these people if I didn't do this, and it's so cool. Same thing goes for the indies. There's a chance to have something amazing, but it's so many bad things to get there is the problem. And so I don't know if I'm just turning my gears or not. So I'm wondering what everyone else is thinking as well on that one. I like the rapid fire idea. I just don't have enough games to even do rapid fire. There's just so many bad games. There are so many bad indies. It's so frustrating. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's just crazy. Now, there's at least one or two stories I want to tell that I think are kind of, well, one's funny, the other one's horrifying, but also interesting. But I'll tell that after I talk about the March for Our Lives really quick. Hopefully only 5 minutes of that. March for Our Lives, that is a thing. Now, whether you agree with it or not, I think it's good to see the youth marching. It's good to see the youth getting into politics. And the thing is, I deny the argument that they're just kids, they don't understand what they're talking about. There's plenty of adults who don't know what the hell they're talking about. There's plenty of them. Like, I don't know what I'm talking about sometimes. So I'm like, wait, I have some idea what I'm talking about, but I don't fully understand. And that's why I have to do retakes, is because I'm like, wait, I don't fully understand it. And then I'll reshoot after I read more on the subject. Because like, yeah, I should read more on that. Because I knew part of it, but not all of it. And so there's a thing that I had to reread for the second take. But just to make sure I know what the hell I was talking about. But that's the thing, is it's important to know what you're talking about. And some of these kids obviously don't know what they're talking about. A lot of protesters don't know what they're talking about. I've been in a lot of protests where I had no idea. I did it because a friend needed more bodies. I'm like, all right, fine, I'll go, I'll help out. And that happens. But there are people who know what they're talking about, or they believe what they're talking about, and things like that. And the thing also about big things like this movement is, it's a bunch of people wanting different things. That's the thing. It's a bunch of different people wanting different things. Some people want just a hell of a lot of gun control. Some people, not really there for gun control, they're actually there for mental health. And just different things, or they're for a mix of those things. And whether you agree or not with the kids, and anyone, this is why, like, I've never been a fan of some things, like, even with Trump, as much as I dislike Trump, I don't like the caricatures of Trump, like, just the really, like, I don't like it with anybody. I didn't like the characters with Obama, the characters with Bush, the characters with Trump. Like, everyone made Bush a freaking monkey, and then when they made Obama a monkey, it was called racism. And they're making, of course, Trump a carrot and all these things. And you don't need to caricature anybody. On where they stand and what they are, you can see the good and the bad of them. Bush was well-meaning, but in a lot of ways, not that great. Obama, well-meaning in a lot of ways, not that great in a lot of ways as well. Trump, you just feel like he's just a very not great guy at all. You don't need Photoshop of any kind to see he's not that great. He's trying, though, in his own way. I don't think Trump is evil. I think he's an idiot. That's what I think. But he can be a useful idiot because of what has happened with the trade deals. To avoid a trade war, this is the thing. This is where it works in the business world to be who Trump is, because he bulldozes everything. And because saner people don't want to get bulldozed, though concession. And that's what's happening with the trade war, is because no one thinks Trump is bluffing, because Trump is such a bulldozer that they're willing to make concessions on these trade deals. But the thing is, we don't know how that will affect us in the long run. In the short run, it's working out, but let's not forget, Trump's business has gone bankrupt quite a few times. Quite a few times. So, in the short run, it looks great, but in the long run, it might bite us in the ass. That is the thing to worry about. And that is the thing about being a president. It's always about the long game. There's a short game and a long game, and you gotta worry about the long game. But, the presidents only have 4 to 8 years. But the thing is, they have to leave things better after they're gone, because if they don't, things can get worse for their party. The thing is that Trump is an outsider, so what does he care? That is one of the things to worry about politically. What does Trump care? Once he's done being the president, he can do whatever he wants elsewhere. He can do whatever he wants right now. And that is both not good and good, depending on what you want Trump to do. That is the thing. Like Obama, there were things he could have done in his last year if he really wanted to, but he did not, because, well, he needs his party to be strong for the next election. While Trump, he is just burning everything. So it's going to be very interesting to see how the midterms go, if the blue wave happens or not. If the blue wave happens, it's going to be very interesting to see what's going to happen in 2 years from now. If the blue wave is not as strong as everyone hopes it to be, I'm also interested in, like, it's going to be interesting no matter what in the next 2 years. Because if the blue wave is strong, we're going to see a lot of fight from the right. And if the blue wave is weak, then we're going to see quite a bit of middling, and then we either see a resurgence of the blue, or they just die. They just die. I really feel like, I said this like a year ago, I would like to see a four-party system, because I feel like you have the extreme left, and then you have left, you have right, and extreme right. Because Steve Bannon is very different from John McCain. Also, Steve Bannon is even a politician. Like, there's a lot of very radical stuff, and then more moderate, and then more moderate, and then radical. And radical left is just as stupid as radical right. Oh my god, they are dumb. I hate them so much, because it's just a hate froth that they do, and it makes me hateful, and I hate to be hateful, but it is what I am, and it's annoying. Because the extreme, and even the moderate, will buy into their own bias. Going back to the March for Our Lives, there was a Photoshop, and this is what's really frustrating, is, because I'm on Twitter a lot, is seeing the Twitter bots, and seeing the people believe the Twitter bots, and it becoming a thing. Seeing people do the work of the bots is very frustrating. And someone made a Photoshop of, I almost said Emma Watson, Emma Gonzalez. That's the girl with the short hair. She's been doing a bunch of speeches. She's been one of the forefront people, same as David Hogue. That's another one, but she's the one that's on the front. You see her a lot. And it's her tearing up a target, a shooting target. Someone photoshopped on that the Constitution. It's not a very good Photoshop. It's obviously fake. People still bought into the bias. People still believe it's real, and it's so frustrating, not only because of that, but because of the logic of what that is. The Constitution isn't just... She tore up the whole Constitution in this Photoshop. That's the First Amendment, which is very important to everybody. Very important to her, that's for damn sure, giving her the right to do what she's doing. And then there's also the Second Amendment, which of course these people care about, but there's a lot more amendments on there. We have 33 amendments? 36? 39? We have 30-something amendments. You know what the 13th Amendment is? Because I've watched Lincoln 3 times now. That's the anti-slavery one. That's the one that abolishes slavery. Tearing up the Constitution is getting rid of that amendment. It's getting rid of the Third Amendment, which is quartering soldiers in your home. The Fourth Amendment, which... Oh, crap, I forgot the Fourth Amendment all of a sudden. I don't think it's right to assembly. It's, well, forgot the Fourth Amendment. That's bad. I just read the amendments to make sure I knew what I was talking about, and I forgot the Fourth Amendment. But there's all these amendments. The thing is, the amendments are amendments to the Constitution. This is the thing. The amendments exist because the Constitution should be mutable, which means the amendments themselves should be mutable. Now, you can argue that no one should ever touch the First Amendment. That's why the Second Amendment gets as much credence as the First Amendment, because the First Amendment is so damn important. But you can also argue that maybe the Second Amendment should have some changes to it, because it is a lot more insane these days than it was back then. Considering what we have access to now compared to what we had access back then, this is an argument you've heard many times, is why the Second Amendment should have some changes to it to be a little more sane, or we should just be having law to do it. We don't necessarily need to touch the Second Amendment at all. We could just have laws to do stuff about it without touching it. This is the thing that's so weird, is no one's going to abolish the Second Amendment. No one's going to take away your guns. What they're going to do is going to make sure you don't have the ability to get certain guns. That's really what it is, or to enhance certain guns in certain ways. That's really what the goal should be. But honestly, if enough school shootings happen and enough people get hit, in 20-something years, we could see the amendment get hit. And this is why I feel like gun control should make concessions. Things that shouldn't even be concessions. Things that should be sane. The fact that the NRA has not and will not budge on mental health, there should be more background checks on that. The fact they haven't budged on that is insane. Putting up the 21, I think, is fine. There's the 18-year-olds who are really mad about them. 3 more years. 3 more years. It's weird, though, because if you can enlist before 21, but you can't drink before 21. You can shoot before 21, which is needed because if you're going to be a soldier. But maybe put up the 21, because we do... here's the thing. I'm just going to tell you. The brain chemistry of a teenager is not the same as an adult. And even young adults, their brain chemistry is still getting a bit crazy. This is why antidepressants for teenagers is very, very careful what a doctor needs to be about that, because their brain chemistry is very different from an adult's brain chemistry. And so that can make things worse. This is why there is side effects are it could make your suicidal thoughts worse. That's there mainly for teenagers because of their brain chemistry. It can happen to adults, but it's a lot more to teenagers. And that's why doctors have to be way more careful about it with teenagers. And so that is just a thing. Now, we do have adults who do shootings as well, but the vast majority are, when it comes to the high, obviously school shootings, it's going to be high schoolers. It's obviously, okay, any school. School shootings mostly going to be students, like student age. I'm bogging it down and just getting in the definitions. We're not seeing adults going over and shooting schools. We are still seeing adults shooting up other places. We're still seeing that. We're seeing them use bombs, or there was the guy who flew his plane into an IRS building. We see other things of insane proportion, but when it comes to school shootings specifically, it is, of course, teenagers or young adults. And it's very unfortunate, and having them not have access, that should help out more. The thing is about arming teachers or getting more security guards is reactive, not proactive. Waiting until a tire falls off your car or a fan belt breaks or until the engine dies is not as good as making sure that never happens in the first place. And that is my problem is shootings will happen then if you don't have a way to make it not happen in the first place. And you cover that through multiple things. You don't do it through just one, you do it through multiple. And this is the other annoyance I have is everyone's focused on the guns. There's not enough focus on mental health. It doesn't help that there's hypocrisy, though, because you have Paul Ryan saying, well, yeah, we should worry about mental health as well. Or we should only worry about mental health, forget the gun part. Trump has done that as well. There's a lot of people on the right saying we should focus on mental health, not on the guns. We should focus on both, honestly. But the hypocrisy is they say that after they cut a bunch of funding for mental health. That is the hypocrisy. They cut a bunch of funding for mental health issues. And it's like, well, what are you talking about then? Shouldn't we get more money towards that if you're saying that? No, what the hell? And that is a frustration right there. That is definitely frustration. Now, if you're wondering why the NRA won't budge on anything, that's because they did a long time ago. I can't remember if it was in the 70s or the 80s. I don't remember what the thing was because I'm short on time, so I couldn't look it up. But they budged, they did compromise, and because of that, they lost a bunch of membership. When the assault weapon ban was coming up, the Democrats were getting this going. They came to the NRA and said, you should get behind this. We should all be on this thing because that makes sense, and this will be a good thing. And LaPierre and them, they said, no. Last time we compromised on anything with gun control, we lost a ton of membership. We will budge on nothing. That is why they've never budged in so long, is because they lost a bunch of members before. So the NRA is not going to budge. Even with something that makes sense like mental health, like there should be more background checks to make sure of that, to make sure people with mental health issues cannot get a gun. That's why they won't budge on things like that. Because if they budge at all, that means they're giving an inch, which will give a mile. Which is stupid because we are a country born of compromise. The belief that you should dig in your heels is this manly thing, or this American thing, is the exact opposite. It is cowardly, it is foolish, you're unwilling to talk to the other side, you're unwilling to understand the other side, you're unwilling to find a way to bridge the gap. That is not American whatsoever. That is for dang sure. And so it is very unfortunate that the NRA is not willing to play ball one bit. And I think because of that, at some point, NRA is going to get hit really hard. They're getting hit hard with a bunch of advertiser laws, but they're going to get hit hard even worse in the future if they're not willing to make any concessions. Even the ones that make sense that they should be on, they're not doing it because they're worried about losing members. And that's not good. The guns are never going to get taken away. They're never going to get taken away. The Second Amendment's never going to get destroyed. It might get changed, though, someday. Especially if you have two opposing forces just hitting each other really hard, something's going to snap. It's not going to be a bend. It's going to be a snap. It's going to break right off. And it'll be their own fault. It will be. The thing is, school shootings are an outlier. The majority of gun death is gang violence or just more adult violence happening, and a lot of suicides as well. The problem is, this is a thing that is a real problem is, suicide rate? What is the biggest dealer of that? That. Right there. That is the biggest dealer of death for suicides. Because it's instant. You don't have any time to step away. You don't have any time for that. You know me. I used a knife. That gave me enough time to not kill myself. a gun, and I'm not here anymore. Just plain and simple. There's no time to consider because once that goes, it's done. And so it's very. There are plenty of people who should not have guns in their house. They should not have guns on their hands. There's plenty of people, and it's unfortunate that no changes happened. The shootings are outliers, but it scares everybody. It scares everyone. It only took 9/11 to scare the hell out of everybody. Just one incident scared everybody. That's all we had, and it was enough to scare us all. That was a big story. These shootings keep happening at schools, and despite the fact that that is an outlier compared to the normal amount of death by guns, that has got everyone's attention. In general, a lot more could be done. Simple. Now, story time really quick. Now, these are supposed to be funny. I'm going to tell two really quick, and then we're done with the vlog. I had to take safety class 2 weeks ago. And the safety instructor, she was talking about how she used to work for Waxy. It's a company that does all the bathroom stuff in every business building. If you're at a urinal or whatever, just look at the company logo or the name, and more times than not, it'll be Waxy. So she used to work there. And one day, she decided she wanted to clean her bathroom because it was all dirty and stuff. So she took some of the product home. And it was this high-strength acid. And so she's just shooting it around on the soap scum and all that stuff on her shower and everything. And then she had to move for whatever reason, and she dropped the bottle. The bottle falls, lands right on the base. The lid comes off, and the liquid shoots straight up. She's looking down because, of course, she drops it, like, oh, shoot. And then it goes right in her eyes. Right there. Acid right in the eyes. Both of them. And she is like, oh, crap. And, of course, she's yelling out. People get her to the hospital and everything. She's doing the eye wash and everything. She hits her eyes with, like, 15 minutes of water. Like, if you get acid in your eyes or any liquid, you're supposed to wash your eyes after, like, 15 minutes. So she's doing that. She's constantly doing that. They take her to the hospital. There they get a machine, which is like these 2 suction cups. They put it on your eyes, and they're constantly shooting saline into your eyes. You're just drinking through your eyes at this point. And she was blind for 2 months. She comes out of the blindness, though. She sees the doctor, and they're like, you actually have better eyesight now. What? So, this is the interesting thing is, the acid etched her eyes and cut away and burned away just the whatever was in there that was making her eyesight worse. Basically, it burned away a layer of her eyes, so she got sharper vision. That's insane. And not recommended, obviously. That's insane. Now, when eye surgery happens, what they do is they cut your not the iris. They cut a layer of your eye away. I can't remember what it's called right now, and then they do their lasering, and then they put it back on. That's what they do. They're burning away. They're sanding down your eye. That's not the right way to put it. I'm just dumbing it down by saying that, but they're making your eye better with lasers and a knife and things, and you have to be awake for it, and it is effing terrifying, which is why I don't ever want to do it. That sounds terrifying. But that's what happened to her. Crazy. Now here's a different story. Yesterday, there's a lot of construction happening in this area because they're trying to build a bridge and all this stuff. And they have a leak in one of their pipes 12, 15 feet deep. They have a leak down there. There should be nothing there. That area should be cut off right now. They have a leak. So I get called in. Like, we need a guy to check this out. I'm like, all right, okay, I'm coming. And they're like, we need to know whether or not this is clean water, reclaimed water. What the hell is it? I'm like, okay, all right. And so I'm there. And it took a while to get there, but everything. I'm there, and they're like, okay, so the water's down there. I'm like, you want me to get that? You want me to get that water down? You want me to test that water down there? 12 feet deep. He's like, yeah. I'm talking to an engineer here. You think he would have gotten something ready for me to do this? To get the water? Or just some way to give me the water so I can check it? But instead, no, that's the situation. So I'm like, all right, well, I got a bottle here, so we got any string? He's like, yeah, we can go get some string. So we get like about like 20, 30 feet of string. I tie it up and everything. I get all ready and everything. Takes a while. We come back to the hole. I'm like, okay, here we go. Oh, right, buoyancy. This isn't going to work. The bottle's going to go down there. It's just going to float on the top. I got to make it heavier. I'm like, well, there's rocks here. Can I put rocks? I can't put rocks in it. It'll contaminate the sample. Put it under, maybe. Tie it to rocks. That's not going to work out. That's not going to work out at all. That's not going to work in any way. I'm like, okay, you got like a long stick. So we used a 15-foot piece of rebar. Tied to the rebar. Got the sample and everything. But it's just... I was talking to an engineer. I feel like he should have been smarter about this than me. He should have had things prepared, and it shouldn't have been me leading the charge on this. I'm a biologist, a neuroscientist and all that, but I'm not an engineer. And it just trips me. It's just funny to me that this was the situation that I had to do yesterday. It's just a funny story to me. But that right there is the vlog. I made this long. I had fun talking about it for watching and listening, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? Having fun. Thanks for coming by, and see you next time.